and to all the songwriters, musicians and fans who've reached out with messages of support over the last few weeks. And finally, I would like to thank Amy. Neither of us ever expected that 9 years ago, from our wonderful writing session, that we will be here having to defend our integrity. Amy, I feel so lucky to have you in my life. Thank you. We need songwriters and the wider community to come together and bring back common sense. These claims need to be stopped so the creative process can carry on and we can all go back to making music. And at the same time, we absolutely need trusted individuals, real experts, who help support the process of protecting copyright. Thank you.
How do you feel, Ed? How do you feel?
Great.
This isn't your first case, though. How come people keep launching these claims?
I'm gonna leave it to these guys now. I've made a mistake.
We have prior past legal team.
Cool. Nice one, guys. Thanks, guys. Congrats, Ed.
Briefcase still around? Okay.
Let that calm down.
I think they're tired of us, so that's okay.
Yes, anyone need a copy of the statement?
Yes.
All right, come on, come on. Are there any questions for the legal team?
I have a question. It's not the last case that is going to try on this song and other songs. What do you say to those future possible? Are you guys involved in those cases as well? Or?
We are involved in those cases as well. We will deal with those cases as and when we have to. We think they have as little merit as this case had, and we think the outcome of those cases will be no different.
Do you think that the ruling today will prove something?
I think the ruling today proves exactly what it said. Ed Sheeran and Amy Wadge independently created Thinking Out Loud. They didn't copy anybody. There was no similarity between the songs, and that's not going to change in any other case involving those songs.
And I know during the process or the closing, you talked a lot about music and what this means to the music industry. Can you talk a little about what this case has potential to do? Do you think that? What do you think? Talk about today's one.
Well, I'm hopeful that today's ruling gives songwriters more comfort that they can continue to create great music using the basic building blocks that were at issue in this trial with a little less fear of claims against them. For sure.
Can you each say and spell your name for us to give the wide audience?
So it's Eileen, I-L-E-N-E, Farkas, F like Frank, A-R-K-A-S like Sam.
You want mine too?
The real one.
The real name? Oh, Don Zakarin, Z-A-K-A-R-I-N.
Case before Judge Abrams, are you going to move to dismiss it, or do you think it'll go forward?
That case is waiting on what happens with the first SAS case. Again, as I said, we never thought it had any merit. We never thought the SAS case has any merit, and we'll deal with those cases sequentially when they come up.
Do you think that Judge Stanton was correct to apply the survey to how to rule here in regard to the deposit copy?
There's no question that is the law. The Copyright Office says that's the law. It's not just the Ninth Circuit. It has always been the law. Unlike most people, I've been practicing since before 1978 when the copyright law changed. So I know what it was and I know what it is.
Were you surprised at the quickness of the verdict?
No, not at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Detective Lieutenant Richard LeBrun, Nassau County Police Department. We have scheduled this press conference to provide further details of a fatal vehicular accident that occurred last night. Present are Nassau County Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder, First Deputy Commissioner of Police Kevin Smith, representing the Detective Division, Deputy Chief James Barcher, representing our Patrol Division, Deputy Chief Frank LeBate, and the Commanding Officer of our Homicide Squad, Detective Captain Stephen Fitzpatrick. At this time, I'd like to introduce Commissioner of Police Patrick Ryder. Sir.
So good afternoon. There's not really much you could say about a situation like this. It's just horrific. At approximately 10:30 last night, I received a phone call about the accident and the two young victims in that vehicle that lost their life. I called the county executive immediately, and besides the anger that first came across, and obviously the condolences to the family, he issued a directive that he wants to take back our streets. And we will be taking back our streets this summer. We're done. 2 tragic lives lost because somebody chose to drink and drive and end up going the wrong way. We can't have it. We won't have it here in this county. The county executive, again, has spoken, and we will start that enforcement immediately, where we are going to invest a lot of resources into it and taking back control of the streets. Now I'm going to turn it over to Detective Captain Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Commissioner. As the Commissioner informed you, this is about a briefing to update you on the deaths of 2 14-year-old males. So last night at around 10:21 p.m., 9/11 received multiple calls for a collision involving multiple vehicles with people entrapped in the car, and basically a catastrophic event. When officers arrived at scene, they discovered a 2019 Alfa Romero that was occupied by 4 teenage males. 2 of those males were 14 years old. They were pronounced deceased there at the scene. The other 2 males, the 17-year-old driver and the 16-year-old passenger, were taken to a local hospital with minor injuries and are listed in stable condition. Also involved was a 2023 Volvo that was being driven by a 49-year-old female with her 16-year-old son. They sustained minor injuries and did not go to a hospital. In the other vehicle, which was 2021 Dodge Ram pickup, was the subject. And on this particular night, the subject decided to drink and drive. He drank so much he was twice the limit that's allowed by law. He proceeded southbound in the northbound lane of North Broadway in Jericho. By accounts of the drivers, he was swerving in and out of lanes, and the kids had nowhere to go. They eventually tried to maneuver to the left, exposing the right side of the car, and the truck collided catastrophically with this vehicle. The pickup truck went airborne, spinning, and landed 300 feet away. And you saw on your pictures the damage it caused to the Alfa Romero. After the collision happened, many witnesses came to the scene. They gave rendered aid to the juveniles, and then a person went over to help the man in the pickup truck. As he was helping him get out of the car, his attention was drawn away. The male subject tried to leave the scene on foot and started heading in towards the mall. CERT officers with our patrol division responded, located him a short time later, show-up conducted, and positive ID. As they were interviewing him, he exhibited signs of alcohol use, his motor skills were impaired, and he was giving a PBT, which he failed. He was placed under arrest, taken to a local hospital for minor injuries, and was released and fit for confinement. Today, he's being charged with aggravated vehicle homicide, vehicular manslaughter first, manslaughter second, 2 counts of assault second, 2 counts of manslaughter second, a DWI, and leaving the scene of a fatality. His name is Amandeep Singh. He's 34 years old, being born October 2nd, 1988. He lives in 7 South Drive in Roslyn, New York. Anybody have any questions?
Where was Singh coming from, and what was his BAC exactly?
So Singh was kind of all over the place when he was speaking. Obviously, he was so highly intoxicated. He was saying he was coming from a birthday party. He thought he was in New Jersey. He asked our officers, "What are you doing here?" It's New Jersey. So we're still investigating where he was coming from.
Does he have a criminal record?
I don't want to get into the actual BAC level.
Does he have a
It's
criminal
twice the
record?
limit. Sorry?
I'm sorry, does he have a criminal record?
His criminal record, he had some youthful offender statuses. We're not allowed to divulge.
What about the driving record?
His driving record was valid license right now. Everybody else involved in the accident had valid licenses and were given a portable breathalyzer and blue zeros.
Are you releasing the names of the teens involved?
Not at this time. They're not properly ID'd by the family.
Were the teens wearing their seatbelts?
Everybody was wearing their seatbelts.
Were the drivers in the car, the 14-year-old or the other teens?
The 17-year-old was the driver, 16-year-old was in the left rear, and the two 14-year-olds were on the right side of the vehicle in the front and back.
Detective Pepin, it's my understanding that you were there on scene.
Yes, I was. I'm sorry.
Describe what you saw when you arrived.
Probably one of the most catastrophic scenes I've seen in a long time. The debris field. If you were there, you would have seen the debris field. It was almost like the car exploded. That's how fast and how the driver hit that car with these kids were in it. Caused them to hit into the Volvo, which was minor damage. But then the speed of that pickup, airborne, spinning almost like NASCAR, ending up 400 feet away. That's just egregious.
You said he was swerving.
Have they estimated how fast he was driving?
We're still determining it. We'll download black boxes and electronic components on the truck.
You said he was swerving in and out of traffic. The driver, I mean, did all he could, presumably?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. He's a young driver, and now he has this high speed coming right at him, and it's going from middle to center to middle lane, and it's like, which way do you go? And the poor kid chose to go to the left, and the car hit him.
You mentioned
Describe the
witness
nature of the
accounts.
injuries for the injured?
Which
What are the type of injuries for the two survivors?
internal injuries, minor injuries, they're stable, but they kept their guarded in the hospital. The youths, the juveniles.
Do they expect to survive?
Yes.
You said you took a look at witness accounts saying the guy was swerving all over the road. Do you also have cameras from the roadway?
Yes, we do have video of the actual event. We're not showing it right now, though. It's kind of horrific. I don't want the families to see it.
Do you know where the kids' car was going, where they were going?
The kids were on a tennis team for their high school. They were at a local high school tennis event. After that, they went to get food down by the Broadway Mall at a restaurant, and they were on their way home after they eating.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to take a very